When life gives you lemons, well, you know what to do with them. But why? Because the taste of raw lemon is certainly anything but appealing. They are, after all, somewhat sour. Lemonade, on the other hand, is bittersweet, I think. You know what else I would describe as such? A tale involving a staircase, two female high school students, and a smidge of lemonade. More bitter than sweet, too, if the panicking Ellie we're immediately introduced to is any indication. In other words, the protagonist is clearly struggling, and not just a little either. Something significant that had been carefully planned, something that mustn't go wrong, ends up doing just that, and in the worst possible way. Unsurprisingly, this causes her anxiety to kick into overdrive as the awful turn of events leave her absolutely devastated. If not for May's timely arrival with some bottled sunshine, Ellie would likely have collapsed from mental exhaustion right then and there, possibly ending the story before it's even had a chance to start. Which it then does, as slowly but surely, Ellie manages to dispel the panic inducing emotions, and the two get to talking about what happened. Why did Ellie suddenly flee the classroom after all? This would leave most people confused, perplexed even. Anyone but May, that is, which is a good thing since Ellie could really use a friend right about now. And thankfully, May is more than happy to fill that role. It isn't long before their chat becomes more personal, however, at which point the proverbial curtain is pulled back on our two leads and the beans are spilled. So, Ellie has this tendency to hold back, always worried she might be taking up too much space, while May is nearly the exact opposite, bursting with energy, goofy ideas, and happiness. In other words, if there's some truth to how opposites attract, then these two would make the perfect couple, and they actually might end up exactly that. Although there is no guarantee. While love is very much in the air, Lemonade does have multiple endings. Two, in fact, and okay, neither are what I would consider bad. They are noticeably different, but at least the point at which the story branches is nicely chosen, and both endings are excellent, just like the art and visual design. It's actually impressive how much time and effort went into both the background, character designs, and even the user interface. Not only are a variety of fonts and text colors utilized, but there are also minor touches applied to the text box, and even quite a few facial expressions for both characters. Now, while the story, in no small part due to some quality writing, was the highlight for me, a close second is the fact that May is fully voiced and just how well it's done. Some might be puzzled by this, wondering why Ellie isn't also voiced. I cannot say for sure, but I believe this was intentional to allow the reader to feel like they are Ellie. If she had a voice, it would be noticeably more difficult to experience Lemonade in such a way. But it could also be that the writer figured that since Ellie is a quiet, anxious person, leaving her unvoiced would help portray her more accurately. This would also help convey May's more outgoing, borderline sparkly personality, further emphasizing how opposite yet perfect the two are together. I do not know what the actual reason is, and honestly, I feel like both of my theories make equal sense, so I'm just gonna leave it at that. Which is also where I'm going to leave this review, wrapping things up with a recommendation to play this fantastic visual novel in the hope that it won't be the last we've seen of Ellie and May. According to the game's itch.io page, there is reason to be hopeful, so maybe someday? For now, how about some lemonade? Thank you very much for watching.